Man, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, dog. Hey, Democrats, man, y'all cooked, bro. I'm talking about, man, I be looking at my news feeds, man. I posted that shit about black and white conservatives coming together. Man, I had Asians coming in that thing. Latinos coming in that thing. I even think I seen like an Armenian American or something. Blur, listen, man. Cooked. Y'all cooked. Extra crispy. No batter. Y'all might want to just start all the way over. Like, just go ahead and sit out for these little 20 years. Let the people get back, back where they want to be, and forget that y'all snakes, and then y'all try to sneak back in. But as of right now, the Latino community, Asian community, black community, white community, fucking Armenian community. Dog, I done had Filipino Americans in my inbox telling me they with it too. It's over.
Everything that he's done, but I'm not going to castigate him and talk about him like and call him everything but a child of God, like some of our politicians on Capitol Hill are doing, thinking that that's going to work to the benefit of the Democratic Party. When you listen to Jasmine Crockett or an AOC and the way they talk about them, even an Elizabeth Warren to a lesser degree or what have you, the Republicans are having a field day. They like, put them up on the screen. Let's show them. They plaster them all over the place, especially Mamdani. That's not an order today, just like you pointed. Why? Because they know that even though New York might go for him, America won't. And in a general election, you are going to fall if you are anti-America, if you are anti-capitalism, and you want to embrace extreme leftism and socialism. But they want you scared to say that. You're not scared, and I can assure you I could give less than a damn.
Yeah, I think I think Democrats are cooked. That boy said extra crispy. Oh my God. I laughed when I saw that. No batter. I laughed. But it goes to show that the trends are not in Democrats' favor right now. As you saw earlier today, I did a video of Kristen Welker, who I thought I'll never see her press a Democrat like I just did today. Um, really questioning the Democrats and their methods and the methodologies. And many people warned about this stuff. It's so easy to be a Democrat when you're young. They dangle free stuff, free things, emotions, being trending on TikTok, and most importantly, your parents are still footing the bill. And this is something that, many people are highlighting that, Gen Z is solidly for Trump, but I think that's mostly driven by young men. And even the problems that Democrats have relating to young men, they're losing it. Minorities in a record are defecting to the Republican Party. Hispanics being the number one group of minorities that shifted towards Trump. And that's why I play that intro for you. Are the Democrats actually cooked? That's a question I asked for you guys in the comment section. I said for 10 years. The guy in the intro said for 20. Let's see who's right. But I think it's the Democrats' inability to really self-diagnose, their mistakes and responding effectively to it. For instance, we got this whole kind of hysteria over Trump saying that he wants to federalize DC police force to help with violent crime, and you're gonna see this host on MSNBC try to make it a race thing. Here, let's take a look.
One of the things that we have seen over and over from the president, from his team, Stephen Miller saying it's like Baghdad in Ethiopia. They seem to hold their harshest criticism sometimes for cities that are majority black and brown. Do you see that, and what do you think that means?
I think that I have been dealing kind of with this issue for a number of years. It's kind of easy fodder on the campaign trail. But now we're talking about governing, and my job is to focus on making sure our city is running well, and people enjoy a great quality of life. And I think we're doing a really good job. We do need the federal government's help, as I mentioned, because they have an outsized influence on our criminal justice system. We need more prosecutors. We need more judges. There are other ways to help. Even we want to rebuild our jail, and there are ways that the feds can help with that. But also just doing their part, cutting the grass, fixing the fountains, making sure that federal law enforcement is doing all of the policing that they can do. And I just have to say thank you to MPS, FBI, ATF, who've always worked cooperatively with us, and we expect that they will again.
And it's so crazy how these liberals, their pattern recognition only seems to kick in for race issues, but not party issues. Hey, they always seem to have harsh criticisms for cities that are majority owned and operated by Democrats. But he says black and brown people. Look at the outcomes. Do you have a high crime rate compared to comparable to other people? Yes, Chicago, who has some of the worst violent crime statistics. Ridiculous, the craziness. Carjackings are down. Your homicides are up, DC. And then the stuff that happened to the Doge employee, Trump's just trying to make an example out of all this. But what liberals focus on, race. And I want to kind of come full circle about this stuff, that we open up this intro with this video of Stephen A. Smith saying that Republicans want Mandami to win, because then the Democratic Party will feel some internal pressure to be more progressive. Also, progressives will feel more emboldened to try to run in these national elections. And then in the midterms, Republicans can use that to show that the already unpopular Democratic Party have not learned their lessons for 2024 and they doubled and tripled down even more in left-wing ideology and leftism. And I think we're going to focus primarily on this dispute that's going on with the Democratic Party, because with all the gerrymandering stuff, Democrats kind of gotten a break from highlighting their divide. Jasmine Crockett's not getting along with other Democrats. I showed examples of this in my videos about her, how she got staffers she doesn't really click well with the Democrats. Democrats believe that Jasmine Crockett, AOCs of the world, they don't play for the team, they play for themselves, right? They get attention for themselves. AOC was ranked as the most least effective Democrat in the party, yet she has the most national recognition. That don't sit well with a lot of other Democrats who felt like they did a lot more substantive work, yet they get less attention than her. And now she's seen as a possible 2028 candidate. There's a lot of internal wars going on in the Democratic Party, and I think highlighting this would be more effective for America to see how the Democrats respond after their 2024 loss. And I believe they have not responded effectively to appeal to middle America. Let's take a look.
Well, meanwhile, DC's most popular socialist is targeting Kamala Harris.
One of the reasons, in my view, that Kamala Harris lost this election is she had too many billionaires telling her not to speak up for the working class of this country.
And earlier today, Senator Bernie Sanders doubled down on attacking her.
Her core consultants, were heavily influenced by very wealthy people. How do you run for president and not develop a strong agenda which speaks to the economic crises facing working families? I don't want to.
One of the problems why socialism has never been appealing to me is that humans were social by nature. We're interdependent on each other by nature. The rich are dependent on the poor. The rich are dependent on the working class, and the working class is dependent on the rich. You hurt either one of them, it'll affect the other. You tax the rich, it'll affect the working class, right? And this is the balancing act that, I think many Republicans understand. Is like, yeah, we want to create an environment where working class have opportunities, working class will have jobs and good wages, but it also have to work out for the people who supply the capital, right? People always talk about, why does the rich deserve, like Jeff Bezos? Why do he deserve so much? He makes so much money. Because Jeff Bezos put on more risk than the working class person. The working class person, whether the product worked or not, he still gets paid their salary. The rich only get paid on outcomes, results. If the products sell well, the rich person gets a lion's share of the profits. If it doesn't work out, they take the lion's share of the losses. And that's something I think a lot of socialists don't seem to recognize about being a landlord or being on these corporate boards, is that when you making money like that, when you getting capital, that's based on outcomes and results, not based on, I clocked in 80, 40 hours and I'm entitled to getting paid. You traded in safety for disproportional income. And my argument has always been, and this is what made me lean conservative and what makes me a capitalist, is the win-win. You understand that you're always making a trade-off. You're always making a deal here. You don't get paid what you believe you're worth. You get paid what you can negotiate. In negotiations, usually you need leverage. And who has the more leverage? But Jeff Bezos, who has a whole blueprint of Amazon in his brain, and he just needs your skill for a specific thing to help with that vision. And in return, you get a salary regardless of not Jeff Bezos make the vision work or not. It doesn't matter to you. You just like, hey, I just need to do my job. Here's your trinket that you need. And then Jeff Bezos tries to market it. He puts the strategy, he puts all the direction of the company and how he can market to the consumer to get the money to funnel in so he can continue paying you. And if that wasn't successful, he still have to pay you because you agreed, hey, we agreed on a contract. I'm supposed to pay you regardless if this thing works or not. I wanted you to work on this thing. Here you go. You assume damn near zero risk. Maybe you get laid off if the company doesn't do too well, but it's interconnected. Now, some people will make arguments, oh, they get record profits and then they still lay people off. You can have, a company can fall through a rough patch and all the workers could decide, hey, deuces, I'm out. I don't think this place is sustainable for me and I'm out. And sometimes what helped me as a working class person, right, is that I always think of myself as a freelancer almost. Okay, I work for this company. My business model is my time and labor. And I get to choose, hey, if this works for me, I leave. If it doesn't work for me, if it works for me, I stay, right? I always take into account what's in my best interest and I move accordingly. I think of myself almost like a solo business. And I think if a lot of working class people took this approach, they wouldn't need unions to really, but I think certain jobs need unions, but I'm generally against unions, in my opinion. But I digress. Let's get back into this video.
Rehash that campaign. But I think the clue to democratic victories is to understand that you got to stand unequivocally with the working class of this country.
Okay, so Dave, we're not going to rehash the campaign, but we're going to rehash the campaign.
Well, let me tell you that the billionaires out there, because we're all millionaires, the billionaires are the problem. And Kamala should have listened to them.
And this is where socialists get, you guys come across more like grifters. And all I said is when people get mad or when socialists come in here and say, oh, you like capitalism and all this stuff, I say, if you're a socialist, your main thing is you want to change the rules of the game. Instead of being rich on what you can provide, what your productivity and value is to society that people are willing to pay you money for, you want to change the game onto how well you can convince the American people to give you a position in government, and that's how you're going to get rich. All you're doing is changing the game. You getting rich through capitalism is you work a job, you become an investor, you become a business owner. That's how you get rich in a capitalist system. In a socialist system, you only can get rich by being in the government. And essentially, if you say you want socialism, you want, hey, I want people's path to wealth and prosperity to be through the government, whether working in it or being somehow adjacent to it. That's the reality of socialism. And these guys here are going to point it out that, hey, making all these slogans, oh, the billionaires and millionaires. Before Bernie Sanders became a millionaire, he used to include millionaires in his statement. Now he only say billionaires because now he's part of the millionaires. And this is typical of socialists. Everything's bad until they get into it. Oh, government's bad. Now once they're into the government, yeah, the government's good now. And the whole premise of a socialist is I want to be in power. So I'll criticize those who currently in power until I'm in power. Then all of a sudden I like those, the institutions are good now. Right? Just like with Democrats and being proud to be an American. When their political party's in power, large percentage of Democrats are proud to be American. When their preferred party is not in power, Democrats have a decline in their pride of being American. Same thing with socialists. But I digress.
Look, Bernie Sanders got his nose under the tent. He's handing it off to AOC and Mamdani, Jasmine Crockett, who doesn't show up for work 50% of the time, like Mamdani. This is what's happening. By the way, let's not call Bernie Sanders a socialist. Look at his policies. The guy is a communist. He always has been. He's very clear about his policies and where they are. And you know what? George Will, I wish he'd at least give a little credit to Thomas Sowell on this, and I happen to agree, but I'll credit Thomas Sowell. Sometimes you have to flirt with, or sometimes you have to experience the failures of socialism, and the fact is New York is about to do that. Cuomo's political career is dead. He's got a body bag count to his decisions in the state of New York during COVID. Eric Adams is a tracksuit trying to keep his job, and Mamdani's got the vote of the progressives and the white liberals, especially young white liberals and leftover hippies. And sadly, New York is going to have to flirt with this to make Bolshevik Bill de Blasio look like he was a walk in the park.
Can I just talk about Bernie Sanders, or this is going to drive me nuts? I am so tired of being lectured to about the 1% from the 1%. Bernie Sanders is the biggest political leech and grifter, potentially in political history. The guy.
And this is how money socialists, in my view, come across. You guys come across almost like a leech that demands more power. Oh, I deserve power. I deserve the riches. Oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't deserve all this money. Could you have built a business like Amazon from scratch? I don't think so. Right? And it provides a lot of value, right? A lot of you guys, a lot of you leftists that complain about Jeff Bezos and his wealth, you buying his subscription for Amazon Prime. You're buying his stuff for Amazon TV, right? You buying his products. No one put a gun to your head to buy his products. How socialists is going to make money? Going to put a gun to your head to buy his products. That's the difference. Force. Government force you to do things. Oh, you're not going to have a private system. No private system for you. Hey, you can't drive gas-powered cars. You have to drive electric. And then you're going to subsidize these businesses because there's no genuine interest from the consumers to buy these products, right? Instead of electric companies or electric car companies saying, hey, we want to build the best car. They say we want to build the best electric car because it's easier to appeal to the government than to appeal to 1 million and plus consumers. Is it easy to get $1 million from the government or convince 1 million people to give you $1 to buy your product? I'll wait. That's why corporatism, a form of socialism, by the way, where the private and public sector, they meet together. This is kind of the system we got going on right now. There's a reason why 9 out of the 10 richest county vote Democrat. This is why. Because a lot of these corporate businesses, they want to close the door behind them. Same way I say about the Democrats wanting illegals to come into their cities, into their states, is a way for them to solidify power, control, right? Hey, we get to reap the benefits of a free market, and then we want to close the market so that way we make it harder for new and upcoming businesses to come in and disrupt our control on the market. End of the day, all the criticisms you can make about capitalism, socialism has that way worse and in spades. You want to talk about poverty and capitalism? Look at the poverty rate in socialism. It's worse than capitalism. Right? But socialists pretend that they can make a system with zero poverty. They like to point out back, oh, during the Soviet Union, they were doing good. Soviet Union was waging war. They were taking resources from other countries. But when they ran out of other people's resources, that's when people started dropping. Food became scarce. And that's the reality. But, like what the guy said in the comments, sometimes people have to actually suffer the consequences of their decisions, actually have to experience socialism to get what we're actually trying to get at. But I digress. Let's wrap up this video.
He's been in politics for 44 years. Outside of that, in the private sector, he would amount to nothing. He needed politics to obtain wealth. And then he has the audacity to go after people like Donald Trump and other people who have actually built things, who have created jobs, who have created wealth, who have actually done something with their lives. Unlike Bernie Sanders, who leeches off the taxpayer, becomes a multimillionaire or becomes a millionaire from it, and then criticizes the capitalism that gave him capital. So I cannot stand him, if I have not made that clear.
Tom, in 3 months, it's going to be 1 year since the Democrats lost, right? And they are still out there having this very public conversation about what went wrong and how can we go forward, but they don't seem to be moving in the same direction.
Yeah, and I don't agree with George Will. I don't think you learn anything. He seems to think that we're going to have a socialist in New York and then we're going to get it out of our system. Nobody learns anything. I mean, look at Seattle, look at Portland, look at Baltimore and Cincinnati.
I agree with that, actually. Now that because look at Brandon Johnson, look at Chicago. They had, I forgot her name, Lightfoot. She was bad. And then it was like, Chicago, I'm gonna take some jabs at you right here. Y'all was like, hold my voting card. And they voted in Brandon Johnson, who has an even worse approval rating than Lightfoot had when she got booted out. This is craziness. I agree, actually. I don't think anyone's gonna learn from this. I think they're just gonna say he wasn't socialist enough. He didn't do socialism right. That's not real socialism. Any of these, excuses that they give themselves to justify making another attempt at this failed system, this failed political philosophy known as socialism, communism, Marxism, whatever the hell you want to call this, ism. Let's finish up the video.
They run these cities into the ground, and they keep getting reelected. Look at Chicago. They reelected someone worse. So I don't think.
You love to see it, bro. Hey, but that's just the reality of things, man. I understand the appeal of socialism. I just think it's people know that they can't compete in this current system. Maybe they can't compete in capitalism, so they believe that it'll be more advantageous for them if they change the rules of the game in socialism, right? Reward those who complain, right? Steal the productivity of the value of productivity from other people, disincentivize them to work hard and to work at their maximum capacity, right? And then eventually it's just a degradation from the peak of your system. That's it. Socialism never create wealth from scratch and make it into what it is now. Socialism always come after capitalism. Always. Always. Right? Once capitalism built up the system to a certain point, people think, okay, we're good now. Let's start. if your economy was a trillionaire economy, it'll become a millionaire economy after socialism because of the degradation. Because people will be less incentivized to work at their maximum capacity. And if you don't believe this, you living in a fairy tale world. You think people work just for the sake of work? No. Many times people worked for the sake of survival. When we used to be farmers, when we used to, till our lands. You think you working hard, you making 16 hours days, busting your butt on the field, raking soil, getting it prepared so you can reap the harvest 6-10 months from now, and you just expect to give it for free to some other individual who was just sleeping around those last 10 months? Hell no. You'll start a war. And this is the pipe dream that, this is the human condition. We always been like this. I work hard, bust my butt for years on my money, and I'm just handing the money out to you. It goes against this human nature of fairness. How is that fair? Someone got to sleep in 10 months, not do any work, lazy around, did that as the little work as possible. And then once your crops are in season and is ready to harvest, they want a piece of your harvest. Farmers will go to war if you did that. You trying to take from my harvest? Me and my family bust our butt for 10 months while you was lazing around, having a field day, drawing paintings and some ish, and you want me to give my crops to you, my resources to you for free? Oh, hell no. And this is the mentality socialism don't seem to understand, and how they're viewed by many people in the middle. Socialists are viewed as entitled people, arrogant people, spoiled people. And this is why a lot of these socialists like Mandami, they come from these wealthy silver spoon backgrounds. And that's why a lot of people in New York who voted for Mandami, a lot of them come from upper middle class families where you have a high propensity to be spoiled in this way. To have parents that remove obstacles, give you stuff because you're a child, and they think the government can operate the same way to people. No. But I digress. Democratic Party is still trying to figure out themselves. Let me know in your comment section if you think the Democratic Party are cooked and how long they'll be cooked until they finally get the message that, hey, the path you're going, it ain't it. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe in the comment section below. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.